Toulon. So there's no doubt if they show up tonight, Ulster have got a contest on their hands. But the way they're playing, the personnel they've got in their team, you would expect Ulster to come away with a win.
And Ulster discipline going to be key tonight, Andy, because obviously Cardiff have got a goal kicker like Lee Halfpenny who just kicks them from everywhere.
Absolutely. I mean, his form has been absolutely outstanding over the summer months, and Ulster, as you say, it could be won and lost with penalties. They need to be very, very disciplined.
Okay, gentlemen, thanks a lot. Andrew Trimble's 2 tries helped beat Cardiff the last time they were here at Ravenhill. He was omitted from the Ireland squad this week. Big surprise to many. Let's see how he and his Ulster teammates get on tonight in the company of our commentary team, Tony McWhirter and Jim Neely.
Well, good evening, Stephen. It's not a bad night at Ravenhill at all. No rain and a very firm pitch and no wind. Lions prop Gethin Jenkins captains this Cardiff side. The Lions skipper Sam Warburton is in the back row, and it's welcome back to Ravenhill for former Ulster squad member Philo Palo. Behind the scrum, the last line of defence is the Lions man of the series, Lee Halfpenny, and an opportunity for big Richard Smith on the wing instead of the injured Alex Cuthbert. Cardiff being just kept waiting there, but there's a lot of resolve in the faces there and a lot of experience. Look at Bradley Davis there, who's been around forever. Gethin Jenkins, the most capped Welsh front row forward of all time, and Johan Muller leading out this Ulster side for the 57th time, I should say. And after an extraordinary performance and a very merited victory away from home in the Heineken Cup last week, Ulster have got to come back home and pick it all up and do it all again in front of their home crowd. And what a welcome they're getting. Couple of changes at prop from the side that's starting against Montpellier. Callum Black starts instead of Tom Cord, who's on the bench. John Affor was originally on the bench again, but has been drafted in because of an injury to Declan Fitzpatrick. Behind the scrum, well, an experiment. First time at senior level, Stuart Olding starting at fullback, Jared Payne at outside centre, and Andrew Trimble on the right wing with a very major point to prove. Two fairly solid looking replacements panel. Ulster maybe just slightly the stronger with a couple of international players there, including Darren Cave. Referee, the 34-year-old sales manager from Padova, Giuseppe Vivarini. His 9th league game and his first appearance here at Ravenhill.
Hey, Gary.
Just checking with his assistants, Gary Conway and Enna O'Dowd. And it's one of 3 20-year-olds who's going to start this game. The big, tall, red-haired fella from Cardiff, Rhys Patchell, who's played in every single Cardiff game this season so far. And that's not the greatest start in the world, and straight into touch. Ulster could have taken the quick throw, but I think they're going to go back for the scrummage. So that's a bit of an error there, I think, and Rhys Patchell will be sort of kicking himself mentally, if not physically.
Yeah, it just gives Ulster a chance to get straight into this game, James, as well. But I think what Ulster are looking for tonight really is any coach tries for consistency and performance, and I think it's fair to say that the Ulster side have improved week by week, and we're looking for that pattern again to continue this evening.
Well, Cardiff about 5 pounds a man heavier. Callum Black on the loose head side, probably about a stone or so lighter than Tom Court, the man who's on the bench this evening, a well-deserved rest. But Callum Black has missed only one matchday squad since the start of last season. He's up against Welsh international Scott Andrews. And as has been mentioned, Ulster wearing those pink socks because of their involvement. Their chosen charity is Cancer Research UK. And speaking of cancer, I'm sure everybody involved with Ulster Rugby would like to wish the Cardiff club skipper Matthew Rees all the very best with his own personal battle with cancer. From everybody in Belfast, Matthew, hope everything goes well for you. So no Matthew Rees in the middle of the front row for Cardiff. Mark Breeze is there. On the other side of him is Gethin Jenkins. And this side, as we mentioned, Scott Andrews, who is a big unit, nearly 19 stones.
Yes, 9.
Good squeeze by Ulster. Rory Best has popped up, picked up by Roger Wilson. Pienaar in quickly. Jackson, Jared Payne will have a go, I'm sure. And he's made some decent ground. Now it's quick ball, and they've got quick ball. Dyack. Nice little swift offload to Dan Tui. named on the Irish panel for the Autumn Internationals, John Afoa. First start of this season. Quicker ball now. Jackson got it away well. Stuart holding in the line. Rory Best given a roving commission. Andrew Trimble. Jackson. Lovely pass. Well taken and well moved by Johan Muller. There's a lively start by the home side. Here comes Payne. Out to Dyack. He's got Tui with him. Pitch churning up a little bit, but that won't bother Ulster. What will bother them is getting the ball. They have the ball. Jackson. Taken on by Callum Black. Scott Andrews makes the tackle. Switch by Pienaar. Tommy Bowe, nicely done. Luke Marshall up against the enormous Corey Allen, a 20-year-old who's now on the Welsh squad. John Afoa. Oohs and ahs from the crowd as the mighty All Black takes it on. Jackson. Olding. Was there a bit of obstruction there? Not so, says the referee. Decent chance for Ulster. What a start. Pienaar. Jackson. Lovely miss, Chris Henry. Henry goes to ground just inside the 22. Andrew Trimble. Jared Payne. Not a lot of room for the New Zealander to show his skills. Cardiff have slowed it down a bit. Johan Muller has it in one big paw. Now it's Pienaar. A third South African in a row, Robbie Dyack. Pienaar again. Ulster need to get something from this pressure. It's been 3 minutes of non-stop possession. Ball was just nudged forward. And Ruan Pienaar, I think there was somebody just impeding Ruan Pienaar, but what a passage of play, Tony.
Yeah, lovely. Real intent from Ulster, attacking the wide channels, with use of the ball behind, with ball behind back, from the back, spinning it, moving it either side. But good defence from Cardiff. It's something that they suffered with this year. Certainly, I think if we go back a couple of weeks to their away game against Exeter in the Heineken Cup, when they were absolutely stuffed out of sight at half-time, subsequently sacked the defensive coach and brought in Dale McIntosh once of Pontypridd, and I think you can see the difference in that already.
And he was a back row forward.
Yeah, he was number 8 at the track.
Stay close, please.
Second scrum, the first scrum for the visitors, the Cardiff Blues, with the ball about to put it in is Lloyd Williams, now capped 15 times for Wales. Son of Brynmore Williams, who had the distinction of playing in a test for the Lions before he played a test for Wales away back in the mid-70s. Suffered from coming on at the end of the great Gareth Edwards' career and right at the start of the equally proficient Terry Holmes' career. That's untidy. Callum Black, I think, protesting that Scott Andrews has just taken it down to ground. Surface holding up pretty well where that scrummage was. Mark Breeze in the middle of the front row, former flank forward when he was playing in his early career at Aberavon.
No move. Stay.
Just packing down on the near side of the Cardiff back row is Sam Warburton, who's been an outstanding captain.
Catch. Bye. Set.
Also getting a bit of an early squeeze on. The referee insisting that Williams puts it in, and he does. That's a good whip round by Ulster. And it's gone for 90 degrees perfectly legally. You always run the risk of whipping it round, and that is illegal, but they got the squeeze on, and they've got to put into the scrum. Gethin Jenkins not happy.
No, not happy. Great scrum from Callum Black. Also just have to be careful there. Almost both from the first two scrums, the old hit in some ways, and with a half wheel almost on before the ball comes into the scrum. Just have to be careful. We see referees at this stage actually penalising teams for deliberately wheeling the scrum, and that's something that Ulster will have to be wary of.
No move.
Well, Cardiff, apart from kicking the ball off, and that went directly into touch, have not been outside their own half. And we played over 6 minutes of this opening 40 here at Ravenhill.
Set. Yes, 9.
Well, that is a shrill blast of a whistle, as I've heard of Ravenhill for many a long day. And Giuseppe Vivarini not very happy with what's going on this far side of the Cardiff front row. And he's given the penalty.
Push inside.
I think I just heard him say to Gethin Jenkins, you're pushing inside. And it's Paddy Jackson is shaping up. Now we can see a bit more of this. Good straight back there from John Afoa. What was that for?
I don't know, it didn't look as if there was very much in there. I think Ulster would have been quite happy to play the scrum. Obviously, the ref has given a penalty and Paddy's going to have a kick at goal, but the Ulster set piece looks very strong already. You would hardly know there's any difference in there from last week's great performance from Montpellier. Callum Black in for Tom Court this evening.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, was it the assistant or touch judge in the far side, Enna O'Dowd, who drew the attention of the referee to something?
Okay.
But here's Paddy Jackson, included in the Irish squad for the November test. Solid enough contact. Oh, what a very good start by Paddy Jackson. Well, all that pressure had to yield something, and Paddy Jackson got it absolutely right. And a very happy home crowd. 3-0 to Ulster.
That's the important bit. Get in the red zone. Once you get into the opposition 22, it's vital you don't leave without points. 7-8 minutes of concerted pressure from Ulster. 3 points due reward.
And that was straight down the middle from Jackson. Here's Patchell again. Got this one just about right. Taken in by a bewhiskered Roger Wilson.
Hey, Blue!
Hard to believe it's 75 years since his grandpa Harry McKibben starred on the British Lions tour to South Africa all of those years ago in 1938. It was Harry's senior's brother Des played for Ireland, and they were both presidents of the Irish Rugby Football Union. To the best of my knowledge, the only pair of brothers ever to
Giuseppe.
Get to that particular lofty.
It's Peter here, TMO. The stadium clock is not working. I will take the time here, okay?
Well, that's not so good. Looks like a little bit of a tweak to the left leg of Johan Muller. I hope it's not a calf tear. There have been quite a few of those on this Ulster side, but I think it's an ankle. All having a good look at it. Gareth Robinson is on. Lewis Stevenson is, I can see in the far side, is just starting to warm up. So that's not exactly what Ulster would have wanted, particularly with Ian Henderson, whom I was talking to about an hour or so before the game, has got one of those big boots on. David Irwin is there with Doc, surprisingly, on the back of his bib. But Johan Muller is made of stern stuff. He has been an outstanding player, hasn't he?
He leads from the front, doesn't he? Week upon week. Somewhat surprising maybe to see him playing this evening, given the fact that Fitzpatrick, Court, Best and Tui are all the way with the Irish squad next week. The likelihood is that there were going to be rotations, and maybe there might have been the possibility of maybe resting Johan tonight and then bringing him back in next week whenever the guard changes completely.
Well, depending on how he fares, we may see Lewis Stevenson on earlier than planned. Coming up to 9 minutes played. 3-0 for Ulster. Another scrum to the Cardiff Blues.
Yes, 9.
Lloyd Williams. Good squeeze by Ulster. Copeland gets it away. Williams. Ulster will have to be just very watchful. Cardiff have a very dangerous back line, even without Alex Cuthbert. This is Patchell, taken on by Philo Palo. Now capped half a dozen times for Samoa. Good tackle by Robbie Dyack. But plenty of black and blue jerseys there, and they've won the penalty. Good to see Cardiff back in the old traditional blue and black horizontal stripes. That was their trademark for so many years. But Robbie Dyack not able to get out of the way, and I think that's what caused the penalty.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's made 2 good tackles. One, and then the second one we see here, and then he just finds himself in that unfortunate position where he really he's trying to get away, but with the Cardiff support coming in over the top of him, he has nowhere to go.
Yes, he leaned back towards the Ulster line as opposed to infield, and if he'd done that, well, he might have got away with it. But this should be regulation for Rhys Patchell to level the scores. Coming up to, I beg your pardon, it's Lee Halfpenny. What am I talking about? Man of the series in the most recent Lions tour to Australia. He's not going to miss this, I'm sure. Not a problem at all, and we're back on level terms. So 7 minutes of pressure produced an Ulster penalty. A couple of minutes of pressure produced a Cardiff penalty.
Yeah, quite a subdued atmosphere. 10 minutes into the game, and the crowd are really not very vocal. I think they're really looking. Ulster give them something to get their teeth into.
Well, there's plenty of big beefy Cardiff forwards to get the teeth into. Paddy Jackson. That's a good restart kick, giving it plenty of length. Harry Robinson to Josh Naviti, instantly recognisable. Good tackle initially by Afoa. Williams, Patchell, bit of width on it now. Here comes Copeland, Leinster born. That's nicely moved. This is good stuff. Daffy Hewitt trying to make an outside break. Much better from Cardiff now. Williams gets it away. That's been knocked forward. Good pressure by Ulster.
Yeah, much better, quicker offensive line pushing up there. A nice bit of play by Robin Copeland initially, taking the ball in his 22. Just we see it here in the run back. He just holds on, draws the man, sucks in 2 defenders, and then creates almost an overlap for Cardiff.
And there was that little knock forward, and it was by Sam Warburton, but to be fair, it was a dreadful pass. You would not have thanked the scrum half of that, would you?
The pass, he had no chance with that.
Stay, no move. Straight.
There is Sam Warburton, 38 times and cap for Wales now, still only 25 years of age. Has declared that no matter what happens, he wants to stay in Cardiff.
Not straight.
Well,
Not straight.
not straight by Ruan Pinar. Free kick to Cardiff, and looks like it's a little tap from Patchell, and then the old Gary Owen. Maybe not even the tap. Not even the tap. Ooh, that's a nasty one. That's going to come down outside the 22. Stuart Olding, well taken by the youngster. Has played full back for the Irish under-20s, but the first time for the Ulster senior side. Jackson outside his 22. Patchell covers back. Outside his 22. Good positional play by Olding. Looks pretty comfortable.
Stop White.
Interesting kick off the outside of the foot, but he's made his touch.
Yeah, he looks very composed, doesn't he? You can't see him dropping any of those. But again, just game's just bubbling along, nothing really too much happening. Looking for a moment of inspiration from somebody, a line break, an offload, something to gain a bit of momentum, get the crowd into this match.
This is Mark Bray. He's playing his 27th league game for the Blues this evening. Most of them off the bench. That's not straight, but come back on the Ulster side. Williams, Daffy Hewitt. Well tackled by Rory Best, who stuck the ball away from him. And Ulster, I think, have stolen that one thanks to the initial efforts by Best. There's a chance on this side. That's nicely done. Here's Bow. Puts the ball. Dan Toohey is legging it. Cardiff defence is there, and there was the big centre. Corey Allen got back and made it safe. Gonna have to take this on. Gethin Jenkins into Johan Muller. Well set up by Cardiff. Lloyd Williams keeps it in field. Olding, Trimble. Outside him is Payne, who was snapping for the ball. Here he goes. Has he got the pace to get around Bradley Davis? He certainly has. Sweet little inside pass. Now can Ulster capitalise? Cardiff have slowed it down. Little check by Afoa. Pinar. Olding. Nicely done. Sweetly done. Here's Luke Marshall. Gets it to Dayak. Dayak gets it away to Toohey. Toohey for the corner. Wonderful try by the second row. Numbers 5 and 6 in concert. Great little break in the middle of the park. The pass from Dayak was perfect. And the finish from Toohey was spot on.
Let's take that right back to the very start, which was the turnover at the line-out. Rory Best again evoking the choke tackle, and Paddy Jackson actually then ripping the ball away. Great bit of play by Sean Payne here, spots the mismatch against the second row. And again, it's Paddy Jackson involved coming in off the wing. Olding read that beautifully in midfield, saw that the winger had shot, just threw the dummy, let him run on past, and then was able just to propel the ball out. And nicely finished, good combination play with Dan Toohey in the corner then.
Yeah, I was a wee bit concerned that there might have been a little bit of blocking in the middle, but what a final finishing pass from Robbie Dayak that was, and Dan Toohey scampered in for his 5th league try.
It's been very evident though as well, Ulster really stretching the game from one side to the other, using full width of the pitch, with everybody so comfortable with ball in hand as well.
Johan Muller, I think, has left the field. We'll just confirm that in a second as we watch Paddy Jackson. Rory Best is down injured as well. Jackson made a bit of a mess of that one. But the game needed something, and well, he doesn't look too unhappy. I suspect this is more precautionary than anything else, but to lose someone as influential as Johan Muller after 15 minutes, there's a big ice bag there in the hands of Gareth Robinson, so I think it's maybe a strain more than anything else. Rory Best is up again, took a bit of a bang, and he's hobbling, but then he is 30.
It's just one of the things, you know, pitch has absorbed an awful lot of moisture over the last 3 or 4 days, and the calf muscle is the one muscle that's going to go.
With Stevenson on, Roger Wilson takes that better than just about anybody in the Northern Hemisphere. Did it for Ulster, then he had 4 years doing it for the Northampton Saints, and he's back on home turf. Oh, nasty testing kick from Pienaar. Well gathered in though by the Blues. I think it was Copeland just did it. Here's Breeze, the hooker, into the try scorer Dan Toohey. Lloyd Williams, Patchell. What a tackle by Payne and Lee Halfpenny. They couldn't quite affect the turnover, but all the pressure's now on Cardiff. Here's a good chance not. Cardiff seem to have a man or two. Ulster filtering men across as quickly as they can. Copeland for some reason decided to kick it. Well covered by Olding. Oh, charged on, but it's dotted down. Well, a lucky escape there perhaps for Ulster and Stuart Olding.
Yeah, we show the full repertoire of Copeland's skills there, potentially from his Gaelic background, coming from Leinster, with fantastic field at the high ball, and then putting the ball to boot and sliding it through into the 22. Great tackle by Jared Payne.
Sean Payne was the chap played for Munster and was the Munster manager for a while. Yes, I don't think they're any relational. They're both New Zealanders. All the way down to the dominion of Harry Robinson. Now it's Halfpenny, Patchell, and he decides to kick, and that's not a bad one at all. Paddy Jackson has to be quick, and Jackson's forced to play it as far as Olding onto the left foot. Taken by Halfpenny, who sets off at a fair old lick. He's got to be stopped early, and he is. Chris Henry, the man who did the stopping. Patchell. Hint of a forward pass, according to the predominantly Ulster crowd. Halfpenny again. Lewis Stevenson has done a great job on for Johan Muller, Ulster's skipper. Lloyd Williams. Gethin Jenkins, the Cardiff captain. Williams looking outside him. Patchell. Needed someone to come to his shoulder a little bit quicker. Back on the Blues side, Breeze. Daffy Hewitt helping out. Williams. Ulster very nearly stealing it, and they have stolen it. Pienaar. Here goes Tommy Bowe. Trying to get past Harry Robinson. Down goes Robinson, he spilled it. Back goes Halfpenny. Great tackle by Luke Marshall. Ulster looking for a second try. But well done to the Blues for relieving a difficult situation. Patchell into touch for an Ulster line-out.
The old kick and chase, very effective once again. Turnover time, Dan Toohey picking up the loose ball on the ground. Ulster cleared out well. Pienaar looks up, assesses his options, and decides that the grubber in the corner is the one to choose.
Tommy Bowe putting a huge amount of pressure on Harry Robinson, and it's paid off for Ulster. Rory Best is leaving the field, which is not so good for Ulster, or indeed for Ireland. I'm pretty sure it's not all that serious, but you wouldn't really know at this stage, because it's certainly not just a headache that's causing Rory Best to go off, and Rob Herring's going to come on, so we wish Rory Best well. We weren't going to see him in an Ulster jersey until the autumn series were over. Captain. But Rob Herring is coming on to win his 27th cap. So Ulster have lost the two most recent captains.
Time on.
Somebody's found a trumpet or two from somewhere. What a great take by Dan Toohey. Now, was he interfered with at that line-out? Referee seems happy. Pienaar looking for someone to take it on. Callum Black obliges. Tackle was by Josh Navidi. Pienaar Dyack. Ulster now squeezing toward the centre of the park. Options on both sides. Pienaar has a go himself. Tackled by a Breeze, it looked like. Callum Black. Ball spilled forward by Ulster, and Cardiff will get, very relieved Cardiff will get the put into the scrum.
Yeah, good stout defence. Ulster probing away, trying to negate the first 2 or 3 Cardiff tacklers at the side of the ruck, trying to get out to attack and around the out half position. Callum Black's, well, I think in fairness, that's a good tackle by Copeland there that's actually forced to knock on. I thought initially that Callum Black had spilled it on the pickup, but I think Copeland's actually evoked the turnover in the tackle.
Mark Breeze in the wars. Christian Dacey is the replacement hooker, the 24-year-old. Cardiff will be hoping that he won't be needed, having lost Matthew Rees, and as we say, we wish Matthew Rees a speedy return to 100% health. Just into the second quarter of this game, Ulster leading by 8 points to 3, and there's the man whose try gave them that lead.
Stay square, push straight. Okay? After set, straight, now into the left.
Referee having a word with Rob Herring, who's just come onto the park, just telling him to push straight and not to the right or to the left. Little glance there by Lloyd Williams just to see where the Ulster back division is.
This is a mark. Stay close, please. Stay, no move. Okay.
First time we've seen
Stay,
Signor
no move.
Vivarini at Ravenhill.
Crouch!
This time Williams glances to see where
Bind!
his outside backs are.
Set! Yes, 9.
Ulster getting a bit of a squeeze on. In it goes. Good shove by Ulster. Not straight by Lloyd Williams under a bit of pressure. Now will Ulster go for the scrummage?
Not straight.
Or will they try a little tap? You very rarely see what used to be known in the old days, Tony, as short penalty moves.
The old wall routine. I think Ulster might go for the scrum here. They look as if they have the edge on Cardiff at the set piece. And with a glittering array of talent in the back line, it would be nice to see a move of some description here.
It says a lot for Cardiff that they overcame all the pressures they were under in the scrum last week against Toulon to topple the European champions, albeit at the Old Arms Park.
Stay. Number 8.
Robin Copeland, the last man to get down in the Cardiff scrum. He's still not down.
Bind! Set! Yes, 9.
Better scrum from Ulster. Good control by Wilson. That is an excellent piece of scrummaging by Ulster and has produced a penalty. Great work by Messrs Black, Herring, and of course Afoa.
Also
taking it quickly. Bow slings it wide. Here's Payne. Cleverly done. Second try. As we were congratulating the Ulster scrum, they did take the quick penalty, and Jared Payne, playing in the centre for only the second time this season, gets his 7th league try for Ulster.
Very quick thinking by Ruan Pienaar. Cardiff set piece in disarray, looking at each other. Pienaar looks up, takes a quick penalty. Beautiful pass out to Jared Payne. Slides over in the corner. But Ulster really have the number on them and look as if they have the number on them up front that are happy enough to take scrum and really go at them.
Well, that was what brought the free kick. And Cardiff were waiting to see what Ulster were going to do. Wonderful missed pass by Tommy Bowe, and Payne said thank you very much indeed. So that's Ulster's second try. The last 2 meetings between these sides, Ulster have gained bonus point victories. A year ago at the Arms Park, they ran in no fewer than 7 tries. At Ravenhill toward the end of the last season, they won it, but only by scoring 4 tries. Jackson. That's a little bit better, but still not close enough. I don't think Ulster will complain with a scoreline that reads 13-3, though.
No, certainly not. Ulster look to be the side who are trying to play the high tempo, the quick game. We've seen Cardiff happy enough to get the ball and kick deep into the Ulster 22 and play more of a territory game, trying to keep Ulster out of their own half.
Patchell once again. Wilson has to run from deep, but he took it well, had to check. So that momentum was lost. Pienaar outside his 22. giving that an almighty wallop, and look at Trimble. Copeland gathers and spills it back. Lee Halfpenny did wonderfully well to avoid the clutches of Robbie Dyack. Cardiff have regained possession. Breeze, chunky little hooker. Good support play. Williams, Patchell thought about the kick. Gets it to the enormous Corey Allen, who's about 6'4". Where do Wales get these big backs from? Another splendid piece of defending by Ulster, employing what's known as the choke tackle. The ball was called, which means the ball was off the ground, and Ulster get the put into the scrum.
Yeah, tag team there from Lewis Stevenson and Chris Henry, but Ulster very, very aggressive with their line speed, pushing up, giving Cardiff really no options, nowhere to go, and that's just brute upper body strength there by the two guys.
Well, Lewis Stevenson doesn't get that many starts for Ulster, but when he does, he's always played particularly well. It was a bit unfortunate. He played for Ireland, emerging Ireland in the Tbilisi Cup in Georgia. Played very well in the first game, but got injured and missed the other two.
Stay close, please. Some more distance, please.
Into the 26th minute, 13-3 for the home side.
Stay close.
Lost their opening two games, were pretty poor against the Dragons, and were wasteful in terms of squandering opportunities against Glasgow, but it's been WWW all the way in terms of the league, and indeed the Heineken Cup.
Crunch! Bind! Set!
Well, I'm not convinced that Scott Andrews wasn't taking Callum Black down a little bit, and the referees come over to this side. Pitch cutting up just a little bit, but despite that torrential downpour for last night and most of this morning, it's in pretty good nick. And there's no wind worth talking about.
Number 8. Crunch!
And they've left Gethin Jenkins and John Afoa to their own devices.
Set!
We glance from Pienaar. Directly behind the scrum is Tommy Bowe, interestingly. It's another good Ulster scrum. My word, they've got the upper hand in this department. Roger Wilson controlling it with George Best-like skills and getting the penalty. I'm pretty sure they'll go for the post this time. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they will, but psychologically that's a massive statement. That's the last two scrums where they've basically dismantled the Cardiff scrum, and that takes its toll physically as well. But also just have the wood on them up front. Great control by Roger at the back. It really is fantastic. It's something that his game has improved as the season's gone on. I think earlier in the season both him and Nick Williams have struggled with their control at the back of the scrum, and tonight he has the ball on the string really.
And that extra little bit of beef provided by Lewis Stevens in the second row will also be important. And John Afoa starting his very first game of the season, and of course he's had to cope with the new sequence at the scrummage. So Paddy Jackson needs this one. Ulster need this one, and Jackson's provided it. Best strike of the evening from Paddy Jackson. So 2 out of 4 for Ulster's outside half, and Ulster move on to a 13-point lead. Ulster 16 and the Cardiff Blues 3.
Cardiff really need to try and get themselves back in this game. This gap is starting to widen quite considerably, and Ulster really just turning up the volume.
Well, is Patchell going to do anything different from the restart? And the answer is no. Roger Wilson. Pienaar gets away from his man. What a pass. Olding was taken, but he got it to Payne. Subtle show there by Jared Payne, but the Cardiff Blues had pinched it from Ulster's knock-on. Referee still playing advantage. Sam Warburton, Patchell trying to create a bit of an overlap. Lee Halfpenny. This is Copeland. Wonderful tackle there by Stevenson. Advantage is over, says the referee. Warburton again tries to turn it back inside. Paolo in support. Lloyd Williams, Patchell, Daffith Hewitt. Taken down by Luke Marshall. Patchell again. Breeze with Harry Robinson outside him. Gets no change out of Tommy Bowe. Copeland steps away. Gethin Jenkins, I beg your pardon. It's Scott Andrews, the tight head. Lloyd Williams, Patchell. Spilled forward. Referee's having a look at his touch judge, who doesn't say anything about it, and that should be an Ulster line-out. Or did it come off an Ulster player? May well have come off an Ulster player.
Ulster using the touchline well to defend there. Happy to show Cardiff the outside channel, snuff things out at source.
Well, it was knocked forward by Harry Robinson, who was then hustled into touch by Chris Henry. So indeed it is an Ulster line-out. Patch only 20 years old, likewise Corey Allen and Harry Robinson. Really best, I'm being informed, is just rolled over in his ankle. There's nothing to worry about. So purely precautionary, and that's not so clever by Ulster, having done the hard work and secured the ball of the line-out. They've given it away. Patchell. Tackled by Wilson. Cardiff need to get something here. This is Corey Allen. Again, Stevenson with the tackle. And it's Copeland, well stolen by Ulster. Chris Henry, it's Tommy Bowe outside him. Not a lot of good ball stealing going on in there by both sets of players. Football being stripped away from Tommy Bowe, and it's going to be a Cardiff scrum.
Ulster playing with an awful lot of confidence. That's second or third time we've seen them prepared to have a go from inside their own 22. Again, good defence by Cardiff. They're manning up very well, committing very few men to the breakdown and attacking the ball in the tackle as well. Very important.
A bit of a stoppage because of an injury to a Cardiff player. Andrews is going off, and the oldest man either squad is coming on, is now 36 years of age. Taufau Falesi, the 17 times Tongan international, who's been around forever, it seems. He's played 154, so this will be his 155th game for the Cardiff Blues in all competitions. So Andrews off and Falesi on. And not a bad time to bring him on, because it's a Cardiff scrum.
Yes, 9. Okay, are you watching? Okay, no move. Okay.
8 minutes and a bit to the interval. 16-3 to Ulster. 2 tries to 0. So Callum Black having faced down a 19 stoner for half an hour, has got a 20 stoner for the rest of this game, it would seem.
Yes, 9.
Watch Black's technique. Good back, and that's a good drive by Callum Black against the bigger man, but Williams gets it away. Patchell, no way through Ulster's midfield. Great shot out by Paddy Jackson. Copeland saying in the press that he still harbours ambitions to play for his native Ireland, product of the St Mary's School and the Leinster Academy. Here's Falesi, very nearly got away. Trailing Ulster foot almost blocked Williams. Here's Copeland again. Good sidestep. Lloyd Williams. Daffydd Hewitt. Into Tui. Ulster holding up Hewitt.
Stay white.
Slower ball, but back in the Cardiff side. Falesi again. And again, it's Lewis Stevenson, the first line of defence. Corey Allen.
Push back.
Lloyd Williams. Paolo. Patchell. Great hit by Paddy Jackson. Lined his man up.
White.
Josh Navidi.
Run away.
Cardiff trying to plough straight down the middle. Here they come again. Copeland. Oh, good work by Copeland this time. Great leg drive. Chris Henry hangs on.
Stay white.
They need it quickly. Now they've got it. Williams. Halfpenny back inside. That looked forward. Back to Williams. No, referee says it was fine. Williams still wriggling.
Stay white.
A good Ulster defence. Falesi taken off at the ankles. Williams, this is a bit better. Chance of an overlap here if they can move this. Paolo, this is good stuff. Harry Robinson, out they go. Wonderful covering by Ulster.
Stay. Advantage.
Round the narrow side, Copeland And the referee's played advantage, and that's going to be a try. And Robin Copeland, who's put in a couple of very good games for Cardiff in the past month or so, has got a try here at Ravenhill to close the gap.
I don't think it would be unfair to say he's been the standout forward on the pitch this evening. Does the nuts and bolts very well, but also very comfortable with ball in hand. See a lot of them standing in the 12-13 channel. He's very, very comfortable receiving the ball and offloading in the tackle.
Well, the referee said play on, and Copeland certainly did play on. He popped up in that particular passage of play several times. Nobody really at home on the narrow side for Ulster, and Copeland just stepped inside Rowan Pienaar to score. Third league try. This is 32nd appearance for the Cardiff Blues. Joined them from the Rotherham Titans a couple of seasons ago. The halfpenny with a penalty after 10 minutes to close the gap to only 6 points with half-time beckoning. So Cardiff Blues by no means out of it. You can just see in the back of your picture there Johan Muller just hobbling off rather gingerly to join Rory Best, I'm sure. Here's halfpenny. No.
5 minutes, Giuseppe, 5 minutes.
Thank you.
TMO Peter Ferguson is telling the referee there's 5 minutes to go. Now, this was the try, Tony.
Yeah, Chris Henry, ball sort of pops out the side and Henry makes a play for it, and with him then getting in that position, the space opens up, and Copeland again has read that well, but he's a big strong guy, runs well, nice and upright, but has the strength to be able to get himself to ground whenever he has to.
Gathered in by Lloyd Williams. That's a very good kick. Roger Wilson has touched that, I think. Or had he? Yes, he did. So Cardiff will still have time to close this gap. Now Wilson might have been better just leaving it alone, or else trying to slap it in field, but he just touched it, and it's a rare lapse in concentration by the accomplished Roger Wilson. But it's given Cardiff possession, and a great field position as well. And they've won it. Warburton at the back. Now they'll try to run ball. Ulster looking a little bit fragmented there. This is good work by Cardiff. Breeze has the ball. Williams was calling for it. Here goes Breeze. Referee was calling advantage, so Cardiff may get something out of this no matter what happens. Lloyd Williams gets it to Copeland, who's in fine form. Williams. Bradley Davis, who captained Wales on their 2-test tour to Japan in the summer.
No advantage.
Referee's bringing them back for the penalty to Cardiff, and this is very kickable.
Again, Robin Copeland leading from the front on the back of a man-of-the-match performance against Toulon last week, and I'm sure if the Irish management are here tonight, they'll be taking notes. He's been very, very impressive.
First.
Well, I think one more year and he's actually qualified to play for Wales, but has declared, as we mentioned during the week, that he wants to play for his native Ireland. And he's been the major problem for this Ulster side all the way through. And Ulster looking comfy at 16-3, looking less than comfortable at 16-8, and will be even less comfortable should Lee Halfpenny, as we'll see after we watch a little bit of play here, as he's shaping up to do if he can land this one. The long side of the field for him as a right-footed kicker, but this is the sort of thing that he does probably in his sleep. That's a good kick. Well, still a little bit of time to go, and the Cardiff replacement's looking pretty happy. Nice strike by Lee Halfpenny, so only 5 points between them, Tony.
Yeah, Cardiff have done really nicely here in the last 10 minutes on the back of Ulster losing Rory Best and Johan Muller. Fought themselves back into the game, and you have to say at 16-11, scoreline doesn't flatter either side. It's a real contest now.
Jackson. Paolo. Tommy Bowe made the tackle.
Stay white.
Copeland. Lloyd Williams. Definitely air of confidence about this Cardiff side. Corey Allen had to check because of the pass which wasn't in front of him, and he's put that directly into touch. Now they'll have to come back because the ball was passed back. I thought the ball was passed back into the 22. Yeah, maybe it wasn't.
A bit of a conflab going on here between touch judge and referee.
The ball start inside or outside?
I think he's asked to go upstairs into the TMO, has he?
Yeah. And O'Dowd, well, that was passed back inside, and the kick was put directly into touch, so they'll have to go back to inside the 22, directly opposite the point from which the ball was kicked. So into the last minute, and Ulster will be looking, I think, just to get something before the interval. Certainly they won't want to concede anything.
It's a bad mistake by Cardiff, having fought their way back into this game. They've just basically released all the pressure that they've been starting to build.
In.
Rob Herring. Dyack with the take. Navidi comes right round.
Stay blue.
Well set up by Ulster and by Callum Black. Pienaar. Chris Henry has to check and then runs into Navidi. And Warburton, an old foe. Jackson. Lovely pass by Jackson. Stuart Olding comes into the line. Jackson again. Taken on by Herring, who runs into Philo Palo.
Stay blue.
Pienaar. Now Jackson, not much on here. Well done by Luke Marshall. Good tackle by the experienced David Hewitt. Jackson again. Afoa. Need the quick ball.
Time is yours.
They might just have suffered a turnover there, Ulster, and they have. And it's Copeland, the man of the first half, who gets it away and gets it into touch. And Ulster's chance of further points before the interval have just gone. Ulster will be reasonably happy that they're ahead, but it probably could have been so much more, Tony.
Yeah, the Cardiff defence has stood up well. Very noticeable again. They're committing very few mental breakdowns, spreading out well, but more importantly, they're tackling at the ball, and they're making it difficult for Ulster to produce any fast, quick ball to get the backs into it. Subsequently, then the game has become a bit stop-start.
Well, Ulster in the lead. The Ulster fans, I don't think, worried at this stage, outscoring the Cardiff Blues by 2 tries to 1. Half-time scores: Ulster 16 and the Cardiff Blues 11.
It's been an entertaining first half. What is it they say? Only real men can wear pink. Well, it certainly hasn't affected Ulster's performance, running in 2 excellent tries by Dan Toohey and the impressive Jared Payne. But Ulster disrupted with injuries to Johan Muller and Rory Best, and Cardiff back into the game. Great try by Robin Copeland. It's 16 points to 11 at half-time. Paddy Jackson's kicked 2 out of 4. Lee Halfpenny with 2 out of 3. Andy Ward and Ryan Constable have been enjoying a very good first half, and Ulster deserve it of their lead, Andy.
I think so, but in the last 10 minutes, certainly the boys talked about it in commentary there, how Cardiff have just got themselves back into it. Unfortunately for Ulster, had they kept applying that pressure towards the latter half of that first half, I think Cardiff would have been coming into the change room going, what do we have to do? The scrum was dominating. There were so many parts that were going well for Ulster, and they just let Cardiff off the hook and just released a little bit of pressure there. And so Cardiff are probably going in now a little more buoyant than they perhaps should have been.
Because the way Ulster started the game, Ryan, it was outstanding. I don't think Cardiff touched the ball for 6 or 7 minutes.
Yeah, 7.5 minutes, dominated possession, dominated territory, just good ball security, recycling it, going through their phases. Looked in total control of the match, and the points started to come after that period of dominance.
Jared Payne playing in the centre. You're a big fan of his as a fellow Kiwi as well, of course, but obviously his great break set up that first try.
Well, he's just textbook the way he plays his rugby these days. He's just everything you should teach a young guy to do is carry the ball in 2 hands, and he just goes it. He's not the quickest thing on 2 legs. Like 2-hand carry, you're always in 2 minds what's going to happen. And his decision-making and his timing of the pass is just impeccable every time he makes it. Invariably, it's a good decision. He just springboards things. But this is what Ulster were going forward, and the ball was coming back at will at this point of the game. And great decisions there, great offloads, and boys just running off each other's shoulder. And the build-up play to that try was just fantastic. And at that point we thought, this is going to be a great night for Ulster Rugby.
Yeah, interesting to see the way Ulster are playing, obviously spreading it wide, but Diak and Tui running in the score, Ryan.
Yeah, well, you've got to have 1 through to 15. You've got to have guys that are comfortable on the ball. We've seen it, New Zealand, the most successful team internationally. Every man can play, understands what decisions to make, has the skills to execute, and Ulster looked very comfortable in those wide channels, no matter who's in the channel.
Ulster dominated the scrum first half, and that's what led to the second try, Andy.
Very much so. I mean, the pressure that they've been exerting in the scrum in that first half is just immense, but the energy that's going to be sapped up from these scrums, this takes its toll. In the last 10 or 15 minutes, Ulster need to put this pressure back in, because the energy being absorbed, as I say, through these scrums is immense.
And great awareness by
tremendous.
Ruan.
But as soon as that penalty, he was looking. You could just see, if we went back to that, you could just see him looking to see what was on. And fair play to the boys out wide. Everybody stayed alert, and in he went for the corner. Jared Payne always there.
Quick thinking, wasn't it?
Yeah, kept their depth really well in the outside channels. Everyone's on the same page. Everyone's alert. Pinar takes it. There's a 4-on-2. And then the outside players keep their depth. Tommy Bowe chooses the right option. Try. Very simple stuff, but executed very well.
As we saw the dominance in the scrum there, and John Afoa has made a real impression in the front row of this scrum tonight.
Listen, he is just the bee's knees when it comes to scrummaging. He is technically so proficient in what he does. I mean, he's up against Gaffin Jackson, who is an absolute cracking prop himself. But John Afoa, his technique is just perfect. He's so strong, he gets in there, but he just knows when to put the pressure on his opposition number just at the right time. And Callum Black's having a good game as well. I think he's been going a lot better this season technically. But this is just a culmination of a lot of pressure coming in.
What about the put-ins here, Ryan? Cricket, one for each team?
Yeah, it's been a real focus this season on getting that feed straight. We've seen the referee, consistency, one against each team there. Ruan Pinar appealing to the referee, obviously looked fairly crooked, but if you're going to have a contest at the scrum, that's what they want. They've depowered the engagement, and now they want the ball in straight and the hooker having to lift his feet and strike for the ball. So we're getting consistency in the application of that rule.
And Ulster will be disappointed to have conceded that try just before half-time.
Yeah. Very much so. They were cruising in this game. They were doing everything right. The scrum had given them the platform. Psychologically, they were dominating this Cardiff team. And then against the run of play, you'd have to say Cardiff managed to manufacture some scoring opportunities. And by doing that, it's allowed them back into this game, and it is now a contest again in the second half.
And the big thing here, if we watch this footage as well, Ulster aren't coming up as hard as we were in the first 15, 20, 25 minutes of this match. A little passive, and we're getting caught on the outside line. The defence is working well because they're leaving that outside man for Stuart Olding, so that worked well. But this is crazy. That ball's not out of that ruck. You can't go for that. Don't panic and see it. Oh, there's a wee cherry. I've got to go for it. Sit back, let your defence, trust your defence. Up until that point, it had been all very good.
So Andrew Trimble should have stayed where he was there?
Yeah, I think so. It was a too big a gap to walk away from.
It's a difficult one. You could see some confusion as they went to it. Ruan Pinar looks at the touch assistant referee, and a bit of confusion as to whether it's out, not, is a penalty going to be blown, and the only person who didn't have any decision was the Cardiff player who picked it up and scored.
What did you make of Stuart Olding's performance at fullback? A position he has played before at Ireland under-20 level, but never for Ulster.
Yeah, he looked comfortable positionally. He was in the right part of the pitch. Hasn't had a huge amount to do in attack. The game hasn't really flowed his way, but you see that he's got deception. He's a very good footballer. Made a very clever decision that set up the try, when to pass, when not to pass. And that's what Ulster are producing. These young players are very comfortable footballers. They can play in multiple positions, comfortable under the high ball, good step, good distribution, and good decision maker. He's certainly got the skill set to play anywhere.
And is this about long-term Jared Payne for Ireland playing 13? They need to have other options at fullback?
I think they're looking at all their positions, and Darren Cave will probably feel quite unluckily. 3 very good games in 13 channel. He's on the bench here, but it's about versatility. It's about options for Ulster and Ireland. And Mark Anscombe's shown he's prepared to allow players to experiment and play in multiple positions. And probably the only error was the charge down, and that's just a timing thing. It can be difficult when you're put in that position.
But good footballer, Andy, isn't he?
Oh, he's a fantastic footballer. We saw little bits of magic there, but we've seen magic from him last season and this season. What I like about him is a lot of self-confidence, and in this game you need that self-belief, that little bit of confidence. and he's got a little bit of jizz about him. This guy is, I think he's a real deal. He's only a youngster. This guy is not long out of school, but he's showing confidence of a seasoned pro, and it's so exciting. I think his future's looking real rosy.
Okay, and Ryan, thank you very much for the moment. Ruan Pienaar, of course, has been at the heart of Ulster's success over the last couple of seasons. This week, Gavin Andrews caught up with the South African to relive some of his memorable moments at Ravenhill and find out why he's staying here until 2017.
You've been here so long, they've changed Ravenhill. It's very different than your debut. What are your memories of that day?
Yeah, definitely. It looks like a different place, and obviously it's magnificent to come to Ravenhill and it looks like this now. But yeah, I think it was a special day for me. You know, I think we played Glasgow. I was very nervous.
He's got it one away to make your Ulster debut. Welcome to Ravenhill.
You know, I managed to score the try in the corner there and also kicked a couple of goals and hopefully win the people over.
They've loved you ever since. Was there a particular moment, a particular person, a conversation that finally made you decide I'm going to sign on the dotted line?
No, I guess not. You know, it was tough. You know, you think about it every day, and when you sit still, you find yourself thinking about the options you've got and what will be the best for myself, rugby-wise and also family-wise, and where will we be happy. But you know, we've loved our time here. I can't see myself playing somewhere else the next couple of years, so you know, hopefully I can play my best rugby of my career.
Pienaar is incredible.
Well, you've won so many games in so many special circumstances. I want to take you out to this point in the pitch and remember that night at the Dragons.
You know, we managed to work our way up the pitch, and at last I dropped in the pocket after Marshy was shouting at me for a while. Yeah, I think it was here in the middle somewhere. I think it was the last play of the game and managed to put it over.
Pienaar, grab a goal. It's high. Is it good? It's a belter! And that's time up!
Do you feel the pressure in those situations, or does ice just run through those veins?
No, I think it might look calm, but I'm definitely, you know, nervous. You know, sometimes you'll get those kicks and sometimes you'll miss it, but it's moments like that that you live for. It's for those big games, and those are the games that you want to be a part of.
You've been away with the South Africans, playing a lot of rugby. Have you talked to any of them into Ulster? What do they think of Ulster? Are they curious?
Got loads of friends playing in France, and I'm sure there'll be a couple more South Africans coming this way soon.
Hold that thought.
Yeah, we'll see. Hopefully we'll get a couple more over here. So it's all about memories and the experience, and you know, I haven't regret, you know, one moment for the move I've made coming here. It's not easy leaving your family and friends and everything you know well behind, and hopefully in 20, 30 years when I'm retired and old, I'll come back here and see everyone again, and you know, look back at the days I've spent here, and you know, I'm sure there'll be plenty more special ones to come.
More Springboks on the way, very interesting. What does it say, not just about Ulster Rugby, but about Northern Ireland in general, that a player of his calibre can turn down more money to go somewhere else to stay here?
Well, I think it says a lot about the culture and what's here in Northern Ireland. It has so much to offer, and it's probably a good proportion while we're still here. It's the people who make this place. It is absolutely magical. Unfortunately, the weather this morning at 6:30 or 7 o'clock this morning, you might have thought otherwise, but however, it is a truly magic place to be. The rugby's great. The support for the rugby player here is fantastic. It's a really good community, and it's nice to be part of.
And it gives this Ulster team a real focus on someone to build over the next few years. Someone so good as that, right?
Yeah, Ulster have still got unfulfilled ambitions domestically and also in a European context, and if you want to become a better side year on year, it's non-negotiable. You have to retain your best players, and Ruan Pienaar has proved over the last number of years that he is one of the top players in Europe. So for Ulster to progress and move forward, it's essential they retain him, and they have, and for all the reasons that have been discussed.
But more importantly, Ulster have got a game to win here tonight, and they've allowed Cardiff right back in it, Andy.
Very much so, you know, and I would say Mark Ainskim's very, very upset down in that change room now to let Cardiff off the hook. You've got to apply pressure, and once you've got the pressure like they did have, it's just so important to maintain that pressure and keep the ball rolling, to send them into the change room nervous.
Ulster have got to start this second half the way they did the first, without those two key players, Johan Muller and Rory Best.
Yeah, and the scrum's where they've got to go. When the opportunity comes, they force that advantage home. Psychologically tough to come off a number of wins that they've done and back it up week after week, but that's the challenge that lies in front of them. I'm sure it's been outlined at half-time, and expect to come out in that vein, as you say, in the first half and deliver this victory.
They'll want to deliver a win to another full house here at Ravenhill tonight.
Very much so. It's a special night at Ravenhill every night, but as Ryan rightly says, they want to back up what they've done in the last couple of weeks, keep the momentum going forward.
Okay, Andy, Ryan, thank you very much indeed. It's back to our commentary team, Tony McWhirter and Jim Neely.
Well, Paddy Jackson has not quite made it 100% the way he did against the Ospreys. He's on 50% at the moment. Also leading by 2 tries to 1 and by 16 points to 11. And just having a quick word with Paddy Jackson, is the man who's assumed the captaincy of Ulster, Chris Henry, a role he's fulfilled on many an occasion, and indeed has been captain of the Ireland A side on 3 games out of his 10 A appearances, a member of the Irish squad for the forthcoming autumn internationals. So Ulster at one stage 16-3 up, find themselves 16-11 up at the start of this second half, and have a point or two to prove and a point or two to score, one suspects. Giuseppe Vivarini gets the whistle. Paddy Jackson scuffed that a little bit. It mightn't work out too badly. Knocked forward by Philo Palo. Referee's playing advantage. Pienaar sweeps it away. Henry, Luke Marshall, Stuart Olding, Paddy Jackson, advantage over Andrew Trimble. Good strong run by Andrew Trimble. Pienaar taken by a Foa, did the sensible thing to hang on. Pienaar, another good start to the half by Ulster. Luke Marshall, Olding, Rob Herring showing a fair degree of pace, nicely picked up by Luke Marshall, just a few meters away. Another impressive start by the men in white. Pienaar, Jackson, Trimble, well taken by Roger Wilson. Good strong work by the international number 8. Pienaar, Robbie Dyack. Good defence by Mark Breeze. Pienaar, Chris Henry gets down and up again, squeezes underneath Felici. Good support by Callum Black. Pienaar, Payne, away to Dyack. Good tackling yet again by Cardiff. Jackson, Stuart Olding gets away. Well done, gets it off to Marshall. What a start of the second half. He can't quite get there. Yes, he can. Now, was that 2 movements? Was it 2 movements? He's allowed to stretch if he's held, but were there 2 movements?
Genius play by Stuart Olding there. Straightens the line brilliantly, has the strength and the purpose to go through. Again, fending off and great offload. Luke Marshall.
Well, Luke Marshall looking really solid. Do you know something? I think that's a try.
I think that's a try as well. I don't think he's held in the tackle
before the try.
Yes.
Well, the TMO is looking at the last pass before the try. That looks flattish. Was he held? He wasn't. He was allowed to do that. And unless the pass is the dodgy bit, I think that's a try. Great break by Stuart Olding.
Look at Olding.
Wonderful
here.
Strength.
Rides 1-2 tackles, able to hold off Patchell. Tremendous short line then from Luke Marshall. And again, great leg drive and strength, and has the awareness to realise that he's not held in the tackle. Stretches out with the ability to place the ball on the line. I think that's a score.
Well, Olding ducked and he held off his man. He held off Patchell. He got it away one-handed to Luke Marshall, who really looks extremely strong. And that was a great leg drive and a great stretch. And this is going to be a great try.
Giuseppe, the pass was good. Are you do you want me to look at the movement, or are you happy the pass was good?
The pass is good. For me, it's okay.
Okay, thank you.
Try's been given. Took them a wee while to get there. And Luke Marshall has got his 4th league try, and this is 35th Ulster appearance. And that's try number 3 for Ulster, so just 1 away from the bonus point. But more importantly, they've stretched the lead now to 10 points at the start of this second half. with the conversion from Paddy Jackson to come. Well, that's not so good from Paddy Jackson. That's 2 out of 5, and it's amazing how a man can kick 6 out of 6 against the Ospreys under a lot of pressure in Swansea. But I think we'll just enjoy this try again, and well set up by Olding.
Yeah, again, the important bit there, Jim, Luke Marshall attacking where the ball's coming from. So often there's not a defender there, but that's just the start to the second half that the Ulster management would have demanded over the half-time break.
Knocked on by Cardiff from the restart. Stuart Olding only 20 years of age, and Luke Marshall relatively geriatric at 22. Don't you hate them? Lewis Stevenson seemed to tip that forward, but the referee, I think, has given the scrummage to Ulster.
Yeah, stay, no move.
So Ulster leading by 11 points, but by 3 tries to 1. Give us a good view of 2 comparative veterans. Gethin Jenkins at 32, John Afoa at 30. Just his first start for Ulster. So his first start of a game of rugby for the best part of 6 months. Oh, good straight back by Afoa. He's really nailed Jenkins down. Nothing Jenkins can do about that. Pienaar gives it plenty of air. Here comes Trimble, well taken by Halfpenny, who's pretty rapid, remember, spent the first 2 or 3 years of international rugby as a speedy wing 3/4. Ulster battling hard for the turnover.
White, push back.
Lloyd Williams, Breeze, who's been putting himself about a bit. Wasn't held initially, so scrabbled forward a metre or so. Chris Henry comes through, referee says that's fine. The enormous Falacy. Jared Payne in there doing a flanker's job. And Ulster get the penalty. Holding on in the tackle.
Great game appreciation and game awareness as well. Realising the situation, he's on his feet, he's entitled to go in, has released the man and then back onto the ball straight away. Great upper body strength.
Well, the veteran of a couple of World Cups for Tonga has given away a penalty. And Ulster going for the corner, much to the right of the crowd, who seem to have found their voice.
Yeah, they have. Ulster really grabbed this game by the jugular at the start of the second half. Quite similar in many ways to the opening stands of the first half. For the first 6 or 7 minutes, they basically had 100% ball control. What they're looking for now, obviously, is the bonus point, but another try potentially will give them a nice, comfortable buffer.
Well, as been mentioned, the last 2 contests between these sides have resulted in bonus point wins for Ulster. They haven't played 5 minutes in the second half. A great take by Robbie Dyack. Lewis Stevenson has it tucked in there. Dyack assisting. Copeland making a nuisance of himself as he did all throughout the first half. Penalty against Cardiff. Starting to lose their discipline a bit.
Yeah, I think he could find himself in trouble here. That was quite blatant in terms of what he was doing.
He's right in the pocket.
Yeah, right in front of the ref and the touch judge as well.
And it is the try scorer.
He's professional.
So Robin Copeland maybe trying that a little bit too hard. He was in the middle of all that.
Initially he's done very well holding the man up, but that's just crass stupidity really, thinking he's going to get away with that.
Well, there's no hiding place these days. If the referee doesn't spot you, the chaps on the touchline will, and if they don't spot you, the chap upstairs will. And I do mean the TMO as opposed to the higher authority. No, I'm wondering, is it the pink socks? Jackson toward what's the War Memorial end, the new stand there with the Nevin Spence Education Centre. Much more relaxed. He really took his time with that one, and there was a nice leisurely measured stroke to it, and that'll give Paddy Jackson a lot of confidence because he's got the kicking boots back on, and more importantly he's added 3 more points for his side.
I don't think he's been striking the ball particularly badly. A couple of these missed haven't been far away either, but certainly at the minute he's riding the crest of a wave confidence-wise.
6 minutes gone in the second half, and Ulster have moved from 16-11 to 24-11 ahead.
Stay blue.
Pienaar. Cardiff down to 14 men. What a great kick by Pienaar. Well taken by Halfpenny. Gets away from Trimble. Jackson slows him down. And look at Roger Wilson. What a muscular tackle by Ulster's number 8. Well, Wilson was one Irish cap at number 8 away back in 1985. And then along came Dennis Leamy. And then along came Jamie Heaslip. And coincided with his move to the Northampton Saints, out of Irish favour for a long time. Lewis Stevenson. Now Jackson trying to keep the lid on it. I think he's maybe overdone that one. Not such a good kick. Good idea though, but not such a good kick.
Yeah, he read Navidi shooting very quickly in midfield and decided then to check and play the kick down the line. But good to see Lewis Stevenson really to the forefront again this evening. He's going to have a big 2 or 3 weeks with Dan Toohey being away and Ian Henderson injured and potentially Johan Muller injured as well. And he's really putting his hand up tonight. Very, very abrasive.
Well, that's the benefit of having a very solid squad. Sometimes though injury in one position can really take its toll. This is Mark Breeze, and that's the Ulster 10-metre line. Warburton. Williams won't thank him for that. Good tackle by Dyack. Also went over that. Referee, I think, has got the hand out. Yeah, right off the feet. John Afor, the naughty boy. Well, the rule of thumb now, John Afor a bit cross with himself. He knew he was doing that one wrongly, but couldn't resist it. It's like seeing somebody leaving a cream bun on a plate. Pacho. And that's a good strike and will give Cardiff a decent field position. Tends to be a rule of thumb that you should be scoring with the opposition down to 14 men. You should be scoring at least half a dozen points. Ulster have managed 3 so far.
Yeah, well, I think it's quite evident here as well. Cardiff kick the touch, they walk, trying to take their time, run out that 10 minutes. Sam Warburton's been a big go-to man in the line-out for them this evening.
It's time to go to Navidi at the back, not using either Bradley Davis or Philo Palo. Good work by the understrength Cardiff pack. Still motoring forward. A foe in there doing a bit of holding up.
Advantage.
Referee's given another penalty against Ulster. No, you see, that's a loud blast.
White. 16 white.
Lewis,
Side entry.
Rob Herring, number 16.
Time off.
That's a couple of unnecessary penalties given against Ulster.
Captain, please. Captain.
You know, when you're not too far away from a bonus point try, you've got to do everything to make sure that you're not conceding ground.
Yes, that sort of thing's difficult to stop. Once team gets a nudge on and gets in the front foot, all it takes is to slew round sideways, and somebody sometimes looks
Just
as if they're coming in the side or they're standing in an offside position.
Speaker with the player, please.
Seppi Fivarini telling Chris Henry to go and have a word with his players. The offence was coming in from the side, and
time on.
Well, full marks to Cardiff for enterprise, not going for what might have been a regulation 3 points. They've gone for the corner, and they must have a fair degree of confidence in 7 forwards, because I'm sure they'll try the catch and drive. We haven't seen them try that yet, but there are plenty of decent line-out forwards in Bradley Davis and Palo.
Not to the gap, White.
Breeze with the thrower, it's a good one. Palo takes. That's well gathered in. Ulster look to be a wee bit short of men there as Cardiff churn. First to the side and then forward. Now Ulster get men back. Good work by Pienaar in there. The enormous Falacy has it. Richard Smith has had a quiet first start for Cardiff this season, trying to help. Gethin Jenkins, the captain. It's gone to ground. Lloyd Williams. Bradley Davis is huge. Fabulous tackle by Toohey. Williams. Pacho. Nearly got through, but it was Jackson closed him down.
Stay White.
Lloyd Williams. Daffyd Hewitt. Great defence by Ulster. Lee Halfpenny, nicely done. Navidi gets it to Richard Smith, but I think the pass might have been forward. They're going to have a look at it. Referees come across as Richard Smith got his first competitive try. He's not too far away, you know.
nicely worked by Cardiff, showing good composure. Stuart Olding won't be happy whenever he sees that in the replay either if the try is given.
Okay.
Just slips off the tackle here.
Yes or no, please.
Just confirm, is it a try, yes or no?
And was he in touch? He certainly wasn't in touch. He dived, and he's probably even bigger than Alex Cuthbert. He's about 6'5", and look at that. Just got away from Olding and got the ball down, but was there a forward pass before that? I don't think there was. Well, nice piece of footwork for such a big man, and a good finish.
Also, just again craving that consistency that we talked about at the top of the programme. Come out again, first 10 minutes of the second half, all guns blazing, putting some distance between themselves and Cardiff, and then just again releasing the pressure with Cardiff down to 14 men as well, just letting them get their way back into this game.
Well, I don't know
Giuseppe,
what we're waiting for.
Yes.
I'm still checking. I'm looking for the high behind. I'm still checking.
Okay.
I wonder if there's a wee bit of obstruction there. Peter Ferguson's checking. Navidi. That looked all right. And so there was nothing wrong with the finish. And he got the ball across the Ulster line before he was bundled into touch by Dan
Giuseppe,
Toohey.
you may award the try.
Okay, thank you.
That's going to be a second try for Cardiff. So Ulster leading by 3 tries to 2, but the gap once again has closed somewhat ominously for the home side. 8 points between them with a conversion to come.
You have to admire Cardiff in terms of turning down the kicking opportunity and going to the corner. Obviously down a man as well against a much vaunted Ulster pack. Win their line out. A couple of phases either side, and they're able to spring an opening in the corner.
They happily just deciding to make another adjustment to his kicking. Only 24 years of age and 44 international caps. Just moving a little bit of our cabling. Please don't pull those, otherwise we're off the air. Electrocloak yourself by all means, but don't put us off the air. Halfpenny. Oh, he's brought that in. Well, it's a scruffy effort, but a great finish. And all of a sudden, Ulster have an awful lot to do again. And Cardiff are only a converted try from leading in this game. Hit it just about perfectly, and it slipped in. Great strike by Halfpenny. Ulster 24, Cardiff 18. Ulster have to get straight back into this. Williams and Cardiff again looking confident. Still down to 14 men. Back on the Ulster side, Lewis Stevenson. But nudged forward by a white hand. Scrum to Cardiff.
Here, Gary. Thank you.
So about concentration, Tony, isn't it?
Yeah, Rogers a little bit unlucky there. Harry Robinson gets here early and sets his stall out, and Roger then he's coming forward onto the ball, but having to go up and over the top of the Cardiff man, and that actually forced to knock on. But we've seen some guys have had difficulty almost seeing the ball tonight, whether with the height of the balls being kicked that's going above the roof of all these new stands, and Lee Halfpenny as well has misjudged a couple at the same time, which is unusual for him to see.
Mark Ree's getting a bit of a treatment again. Last time it was his right elbow, now it seems to be his left wrist. Andrew Wilson playing his 140th game for Ulster, and had he not had those 4 seasons with the Northampton Saints, for whom he played 118 games, he would have been close to 250 for Ulster. Bree seems to be fine.
Time on.
Time resumes. Into the 13th minute of the second half. Cardiff scrum just inside their own half.
Stay, no move. Stay close, please.
An up and down night for the Ulster team, and an up and down night for the Ulster supporters.
Stay.
Cardiff not in any rush to get on with this, needless to say.
Crutch. Bind. Set. Yes, 9.
Good squeeze by Ulster in the Cardiff put in. Difficult for Navidi to deal with. Ulster get the penalty. That's a good scrum.
That's fantastic effort, isn't it? I don't think it was the straightest put it I've ever seen either. And Ulster just, again, put the squeeze on. That front row working really well. And Rob Herring's been a very consistent performer this year as well, hasn't he been? Obviously, with Rory not available at the start of the season, he's going off injured tonight, but certainly Herring lets nobody down.
I've also been impressed with the scrummaging of Callum Black, who likewise lets nobody down. Very surprised that he wasn't involved in the emerging Ireland, having played for Ireland at underage levels before this. And interestingly, rather than go for the corner and the bonus point try, Ulster have gone to try to stretch the lead. And it's Ruan Pienaar has decided to take this one. His first kick of the evening. Wow. It's about halfway to the City Hall in Belfast. It's got underneath it. It needs to carry. Oh, what a kick by Pienaar. That is one of the great kicks of the season. So 3 very precious points. Cardiff still down to 14 men. What a kick, Tony.
An absolute monster, wasn't it? And just hang time, and there was plenty in it as well. I think he maybe had another 3 or 4 metres carrying distance there at the same time.
Well, Copeland is back on. So although Ulster scored 6 points when he was off, his side Cardiff have got 7 points from the converted try. Ricky Lutton is on for John Afoa. Chris Henry runs into Sam Warburton.
Stay blue.
Cardiff dangerously close to being offside. What a good kick from Pienaar. Bounces handily for Lee Halfpenny.
Stop blue.
Back goes Pienaar. Jackson outside him.
Stop white.
Patchell covers.
Lay on.
Right, he'll have a little glance.
Stop blue.
And he's given that plenty of height, and as Jackson is underneath it. Well taken by Jackson, who's well taken by Patchell. But Jackson has gone to the ground and presented the ball well. Oh dear.
Release the ball,
holding
please.
on in the tackle.
Yeah, just not getting enough bodies there quickly enough. Jackson had done all the hard work, buying himself some time by leaping into the air. Takes the ball. Defender has to then wait for him to land on the ground. It's questionable whether Cardiff centre has actually released the ball. We see him make the tackle here and he goes to ground. Does he release him before he goes back in and plays the ball again? That's a questionable one.
Well, it's hard to see from there. There's so many bodies there. But the result of all that is that Lee Halfpenny has got this chance to pull back 3 points for Cardiff to make it a converted try game. Dan Toohey is down getting some treatment. Halfpenny almost physically unrecognisable from the little slip of a fella who made his Wales debut as a teenager. He's a real muscular specimen. That's a very good kick once again from Lee Halfpenny. And only 6 points between them as we come up to the end of the third quarter here. It's Ulster 27 and Cardiff 21. They're not going to go away.
No, they're not at all. It's important at this stage that Ulster gain some dominance in terms of possession and territory in the pitch. Get themselves into the Cardiff half and stay there.
Dan Toohey with his left leg very heavily strapped. That's gone loose and knocked into touch by Cardiff. And it's going to be an Ulster line-out.
Option, captain.
I think Mark Anscombe will be concerned, as he always is, about the mistakes, and particularly the mistakes leading to penalties.
Yeah, it's just the consistency in terms of
Captain, option, scrum.
In the Ulster performance.
Scrum.
We see moments of brilliance and then moments where we just almost switch off completely, and it's those moments that are leading to the error count going
Scrum
high
wide,
and Cardiff getting both chances in terms of pitch possession but also then shots at goal as well.
Cardiff knocked the ball into touch. There's John O'Fall looking on. Ricky Lutton, his replacement, into his first scrum. So O'Fall looking nice and relaxed. I have a feeling we'll learn in the not too distant future what his future is going to be, whether he's going to come back to Ulster or whether he's going to return and play his rugby back in New Zealand. Ricky Lutton on against the very experienced Gethin Jenkins, the Cardiff skipper. The ball was knocked into touch by Cardiff, and Ulster therefore have the option of the line-out or the scrummage, which is a new dispensation this year. Nothing wrong with Ulster scrum. Wilson, Pienaar. Luke Marshall got no change out of the Cardiff defence, but he's made it available. Now Pienaar, Robbie Dyack. Good thrusting run by Dyack. Cardiff man seems to be over that, and Ulster give away another penalty. Holding on the tackle.
It's just that isolation factor again. Robbie's unable to break the first tackle there, goes to ground, possibly a little bit easily, but there's no support with him. Cardiff stay on their feet and are entitled to play the ball.
Well, that's one of the reasons that Cardiff beat the European champions Toulon last week. They won the battle on the ground, and that back row of Navidi, Copeland and Warburton in particular did extremely well.
Just a 2 penalty for no release.
Well, there was the drive. Now he is very much on his own. Stevenson came in, but he was penalised for not releasing.
Classic textbook tackle by Sam Warburton, just chops him round the knees and then very quickly back on his feet again.
Mark Breeze, remember, a Cardiff try and conversion, assuming the score stays as it is, will win them the game. Illegal blocking at the line-out.
Number 7, obstruction.
Warburton, who should know better. Now, will they ask Pienaar to go for the post? Yes, they will.
Number 7, blue.
Sam Warburton disgusted with himself, I think. Disgusted that he was caught. A little bit of blocking there.
It's something that referees are really starting to pick up on in terms of defence having a chance to stop them all. You see Warburton quite clearly there, getting himself in between the Ulster players and Bradley Davis, who's taken the ball the line out. Quite clear, and again easily and well picked up by the referee.
And he did that well before Bradley Davis got his paws on the ball. So into the final quarter of this game, still just about 20 minutes remaining. Ruan Pienaar from the opposite side of the pitch, but it's another long kick. Final little glance at the opposition posts, and then he will focus on the ball. Needs to come in off the post, but unfortunate. Good tackle by Jared Payne, and Cardiff get away with that one. So still 6 points between them, and Cardiff, who've looked the more composed and less error prone in this second half, have managed to regain possession, but that was very close. Patchell inside the 22, and he's found a pretty decent touch, but Ulster have the ball into the line out. That was close, Tony, wasn't it?
It was a shame. I think he definitely had the distance.
Okay, time off.
Maybe part of the problem if you're kicking from that far out is getting the chasers there quickly enough. Cardiff just had enough time to be able to get hold of the ball and clear the lines well, but that was comfortably over. That hit nearly halfway up the post.
Cardiff bringing on a couple of replacements, one of them in the front row, Sam Hobbs.
Number 7, you. Number 7, you.
Chris
captain.
Henry at the back for the Ulster lineout.
New captain. Time on.
I think Warburton, Jenkins may have gone off, so Warburton will take over as captain. And tidy line out for Ulster. They've just lost their concentration and they lost their grip in this game, and they should know better. Better work at the breakdown by Chris Henry. Pick up and drive by Cardiff.
Push back.
Good protection for Lloyd Williams. Didn't give it very much. Bit of obstruction there. Tommy Bowe certainly taken out by Harry Robinson, and the referee right beside him.
Blue. Number, please. Number 11. Number 11, blue, obstruction. Is correct the mark?
Well, he just turned his back and completely blocked him and has obstructed him from getting anywhere near the ball.
Just knew what he was doing there, didn't he? Saw Tommy coming, got beyond the ball, had a wee cheeky look up just to make sure that he picked up the blocking line, and then just held his ground. But it's been a really good contest at breakdown time tonight with Chris Henry, Sam Warburton and Josh Navidi. 3 very good open sides. With the way that the Cardiff back row's picked, basically playing 2 specialist 7s. And it's been a real contest on the ground.
Well, Paddy Jackson's been given this one. It's certainly within his range. Anything outside the 10-metre line tends to be the preserve of Ruan Pienaar, though Jackson showed against the Ospreys that he can land them from anywhere, but this is the one that matters. And he's missed it again. Well, that's about 3 out of 7 for Paddy Jackson. And will Ulster rue a below par kicking performance in about 16 or 17 minutes time? If he gets them, he doesn't show any emotion. If he misses, he doesn't show any emotion. Tom Court has come on for Callum Black for Ulster. Tom Court wearing number 17. Jackson. Halfpenny's underneath it. Has come back on the Ulster side, but was it knocked forward by Ulster? Referee says it was, but he's playing advantage to Cardiff. Patchell has kicked that advantage away. Taken in by Stuart Olding. Now that's well intended. Oh, what a kick! Well, I tell you, there was somebody in the crowd had got a bit of string to that ball and pulled it into the corner. That was the most wicked, vicious turn, and unfortunately for Cardiff, it went against them.
That good old rugby shape ball, just a little bit of cut spin on this, just lands and kicks away, and just again double bounce, third bounce, and just runs away from the defender who's got no chance, absolutely no chance. He probably does quite well not to touch that in some ways to give Ulster the put in.
Well, taken in by Bradley Davis for Cardiff. Cardiff trying to run it away from their line. Lots of aggression from Warburton. Williams nicely set up. Patchell. Pienaar right on top of him. Well, he can't complain about the ball he got, nor indeed the protection.
No, not at all. But one thing that is noticeable with the new ground, Jim, is the smallness of the dead ball area compared to what it used to be. It's much narrower. We're down to really 3, 4, 5 metres compared to what maybe 10 in its pump before the stadium was redeveloped.
It really bothered you though, did it?
Not on too many occasions.
Well, under 15 minutes remaining, Ulster only 6 points to the good, having dominated so much of this game in terms of possession and territory. Taken in by Robbie Dagg, who's had another very good game, not just out of touches either. Herring's right into the back there now. There's a room in the narrow side for Ulster. Ruan Pienaar's saying just move forward. A lot of Ulster forwards are 6 or 7 metres in front of the ball. To be effective, they've got to get round behind it, and that was the problem there, and that's well done by the replacement prop Sam Hobbs. So it's coming back on the Ulster side, but it's very slow. Wilson. Good support play, better by Ulster. Pienaar. Jackson. Nicely done, Tommy Bowe. Olding. Trimble. Trimble gets in. That must be the bonus point try. And the man who got 2 against Cardiff last time they were here at Ravenhill has got 1 tonight.
Simple yet so effective. Great use of the screen runners, which is something that Ulster have done well tonight. You'll see in the replay that's coming up, basically men in front of the ball, with the ball then being passed behind them, just attracting defenders. Jared Payne on that occasion, simple transfer, well scored by Andrew, having the ball in the right hands.
Well, I'll tell you something, this is textbook stuff. It's all about putting the ball in front of the man, making him stretch and getting the timing right, and Andrew Trimble's finish was perfect.
Again, just watch Stuart Olding there, just steps in off his right foot, straightens the line up, just commits the defender. Again, just holds him, which buys Andrew Trimble just that split second on the outside, which gives him the room to squeeze over in the corner.
League try number 35 for Andrew Trimble, and it's the one that gives Ulster the bonus point. 13 minutes remaining, mind you. Cardiff are not going to sit back and say that's game over. There will be no towel coming in from Cardiff, I'm pretty sure. Cardiff have brought on Christian Dacey and Lewis Jones for Mark Breeze and Lloyd Williams. Pinar hit it a bit thick, but Ulster 11 points to the good.
9 and 3 off.
And have got themselves a fourth try, and it was brilliantly finished off.
Just what's holding at the end here. Just straightens enough in, right on the 5-metre line. Commits the defender. Simple two-handed transfer outside. Beautifully executed.
The time is off. It's okay. Time on.
Ulster going to bring on a replacement. Patchell changes direction. Good catch by Dyack. Good support from Ricky Lutton. Jackson to kick, and he does it well. Patchell has dropped back into what they call the pocket.
Stop a move!
Saw a bit of a gap there. Ball to Jackson. Straight down the middle by Ulster's outside half. Not a bad tactical kick. Halfpenny.
Stop the move!
Couldn't have been farther from the touchlines. Andrew Trimble. Stuart Olding had to check a little bit.
Stop the white!
What's a wicked kick, isn't it? Nobody wants it. Well pulled in though by Cardiff. Another Ulster chaser might have been able to do something about that. This is the replacement scrum half. Lewis Jones. Bow again. Jackson. Payne. Has to go from a standing start. Ooh, nicely done. Ooh, he's gathered it. Back inside to Wilson. I think there was a wee nudge forward by Ulster. It all looked too smooth.
Yeah, it just didn't look quite right, did it? Sort of slow motion inside basketball else pass from Jared Payne, but again, just we see earlier on with the ball in the air, again, just confusion with guys trying to pick up the flight of it. That looked pretty debatable, didn't it? There didn't look to be too much in that.
Well, I'm not sure whether it was the knock forward or whether it was the forward pass. As if another look at that, I'm not altogether sure that there was a knock forward. Darren Cave has come on. Luke Marshall has gone off. I think Jared Payne will move to full back. Darren Cave will play outside centre, and Stuart Olding will move to inside centre. Good to see Darren Cave on the park. It is indeed a Cardiff scrum, whether it was for the knock forward or the forward pass. More likely the former. Just over 10 minutes remaining, and Ulster 11 points to the good with a bonus point try in the bag.
Mind. Set.
That was nowhere near straight. And that's a penalty because they've been free kicked for it before, and it doesn't matter whether it's the same scrum half or another scrum half. It's the penalty for a crooked feed.
I can't have any complaints about that whatsoever.
21.
I think we saw a game last week in the European Cup as well, where the scrum half was actually yellow carded for it as well. Persistent infringement, putting the ball into the scrum.
He's changed his mind because it was a different scrum half. It was his first offence, so I got my laws wrong there. Big Lou Reed, incidentally, is on the park wearing number 19 for Cardiff, packing down beside his old mate Bradley Davis. Ulster have the whole width of Ravenhill in which to play. Completely new Cardiff front row. Likewise, a completely new Ulster front row. That has been a great facet of Ulster's play all evening. The scrum and Roger Wilson's control. Pinar, Jackson, Darren Cave. Little check. Pienaar, Jackson. Look at Payne in from fullback. A little bit too much pressure on it there for Tommy Bowe to gather. Wry smile from Tommy Bowe. Look, actually a little bit forward. Tommy Bowe smack into his chest, and you can see the number of Cardiff players who were queuing up to take him. They know him so well from his 4 years in the Ospreys. What a tackle.
Just forced to pass a little bit. He probably would have liked something just a little bit more sympathetic, a little bit more airtime on it as well. But Paddy Jackson really starting to hit the gain line nice and flat now as well.
Stay.
8 minutes to go.
Listen to me. Straight.
If it stays like this, the bonus point win should propel Ulster up the table. Better put in from Jones this time. Good control by Copeland. Jones, Patchell in the inside centre position. Down to Payne. Great buzz whenever he gets the ball. He's still going. Oh, wonderful. Away to Payne, and Trimble, legs pumping, made extra ground. Payne does everything supremely well.
He's a consummate offloader as well. Always manages to get the ball away. Never dies with the ball. Even whenever he takes it into contact, it always seems to come back. And again, ghosts round the outside defender. Andrew's a bit unlucky there. He's done well to pick that up. Cardiff have just shepherded him over the whitewash.
Christian Dacey. 5-man Cardiff lineout. Can Ulster put pressure on them? Not really. Cardiff ball catcher has been turned to face Ulster, but he's got it back. Lewis Jones. Now Trimble's underneath that. Well taken. Gets away from Dacey.
No hands.
Well away by Pienaar. Dyack. Jackson. Flat ball. Tommy Bowe. Across the Cardiff 22. Pienaar again. Payne. Beautiful. Wonderful touch on by Tue. Here's Trimble. Great tackle by Patchell. Trimble into touch.
Great awareness by Dan Tui. Knew the tackle was coming, but again, obviously had some form of communication from outside, from Andrew Trimble, and just the flip pass over his head.
Nicely done. Patchell kept his eye on Andrew Trimble, who's had a very good game. Hugely disappointed that he's not in the Irish squad for the Autumn International Series. Ulster making another replacement. Mike McComish coming on for his first game of the season, and Gareth Davis coming on at outside half for Patchell.
6 minutes. 6.
McComish almost the forgotten man of the Ulster squad. Saw an awful lot of game time last year. And this is his first appearance of the season on the back of a man of the match performance for the Ravens last weekend.
Spent a couple of seasons down in Connacht, for whom he won 30 caps. Christian Dacey, the Blues replacement hooker, has put that in crooked, and Ulster have the option of the line-out, but the one I think they'll take is the standard one, the scrummage.
Scrum. Scrum white for no straight. Please. Line. Okay.
Sam Warburton, good skipper that he is. And he had taken over the captaincy of the Blues with Gethin Jenkins going off, just trying to keep his side going.
No move, stay. Straight.
Thrilled the crowd at the Old Arms Park by turning over the European champions Toulon a week ago.
Crutch.
But it looks as if they're going to come away from Ravenhill empty-handed.
Set. Yes, 9.
Good body position by Ricky Lutton. Alan Clark, the Ulster scrum coach and former Ulster European Cup winning hooker, has done a great job with Ulster's front row, particularly the novices. And there's a fine example of it. Wonderful scrummaging by Ulster. Wonderful control by Roger Wilson. Pienaar, Jackson. Flat pass to Olding, but it was forward.
Forward pass. Forward pass.
Well, I guess those are things that, needless to say, Mark Anscombe would prefer to be executed slightly better.
Yeah, the scrum's been a real high point of this evening's performance, even with the change in personnel and with now Tom Court and Ricky Lutton on. It's just been route one. from start to finish, and as you said, Alan Clark will be very, very happy with the performance.
A bit of a nick there on the side of the head of Stuart Olding. It was in a collision with the man who put in a very good tackle, Daffy Hewitt. Falacy is in a bit of trouble as well, this veteran Tongan. David Irwin just deciding to lash a bit of old tape around it.
I don't think he'd be giving him too many words of sympathy there either.
No, having inflicted a wound or two himself down the years. Mark Anscombe having a little word, the man who was left, Johnny Bell, Ulster's defence coach, and video analyst Niall Malone, and then on his other side is the aforementioned Alan Clark.
Okay, bro.
Stuart Olding's put in a good shift tonight. He's looked very accomplished to full-back, and certainly he's going to ask a few more questions come selection time as the season goes on. It's nice to have that versatility.
This is a mark.
I suppose from a personal development point of view, he's happy to play anywhere from Ulster, but really he doesn't want to be sort of made a jack of all trades.
No, well, Ulster almost in that position now where they're certainly with the wing, full-back and centre position, looking to get their best 5 players in those positions.
There's Mike McComish. In by Jones, not straight, I don't think. What a shove by the Ulster forwards. Now they get it away to Halfpenny, who's had no chance to use his running skills.
Stay white.
He was tackled by Mike McComish. 3.5 minutes remaining. Lou Reed. Great tackle by Herring, who's a bustly sort of a hooker. Great pace because he is a former flank forward. Lewis Jones. This is Dacey. Ricky Lupton held him up. Jones gets it away again. They're going to be forced to kick. And Gareth Davis does kick. And he finds a pretty decent touch, but it's going to be an Ulster line-out.
Really solid Ulster defence there, causing Cardiff just to basically crab piece by piece across the pitch. Good chase line again with good speed. Out half the size to clear his lines.
Time off.
It's Gareth Davis.
Yeah, thanks.
It's something of a late developer, now 29 years of age.
11 blue off.
Cardiff bringing on Chris Chekai. And in the back row they're bringing on Rory Watts-Jones.
The time is off. The time is off. Who is the new
captain? Chekai's hairstyle hasn't changed much down the years.
4 blue, new captain.
Dacey at the back, and just infield is the replacement flanker, Rory Watts-Jones, the 24-year-old.
Time on.
Comes from the delightful village of Cowbridge. Stevenson wins it well. Jackson. All right through his cave. Couldn't quite get it away, but play on. It didn't go to ground. Olding, head bandaged. Not deterred by that. Quicker ball now. Jackson. This is out McComish. Good sidestep by Tui. Here's Jackson. Ulster looking for a 5th try. And they couldn't quite finish it off, but wonderful enterprise by Ulster. Lovely little piece of continuity. And 9 out of 10 for the overall skills level. What a sidestep by Tui. What a little sweet little pass.
Yeah, just what Ryan was talking about at half-time. We go back to how comfortable the Southern Hemisphere sides, in particular their forwards, look with ball in hand, and Ulster are getting there, you know, with regard to that. They all look very comfortable, pass the ball well, always looking to stay on their feet and keep the ball alive. That's what keeps the speed in the game, stretches the defence.
Stay close. Okay. Thanks.
Another outstanding night of graft. Roger Wilson has control at the back of a dominant Ulster scrum, has been exemplary. Hobbs to the near side against Ricky Lupton. Again, a solid Ulster scrum. They want to get it away a little bit more quickly now. Pienaar. Half blocked. Jackson. Nothing wrong with that. Tommy Bowe thought about the kick, gives it to Payne. Oh, wonderful pop-up by Payne. Jackson. Wilson nearly dropped that one, but he's managed to hold on to it. Cardiff looked like they're over the top there. Payne. Jackson. Olding. Wonderful line by Olding. Gets it away. Sweet pass by Tom Court. Here goes Jackson. McComish outside him. Ulster 5 metres away. Desperate defence now by Cardiff. Ricky Lupton. Cardiff have slowed it down. Pienaar again, Olding, who's been terrific all night. Back inside from Bow, that's all right, it went backward. Darren Cave, not forward. If anybody deserved a try, it's Stuart Olding. Pienaar, Henry, Wilson. Well, another one really, probably, which also should have managed. Still there for Cardiff. Referee is playing advantage. And Cardiff, I think, will now be pretty happy to get this ball away. Watch Jones takes it forward. Lewis Jones. So Lacey, I think, a little bit surprised to get that in his massive bread basket. Jones. Dacey. Still there for Ulster. Jackson. Here's Tommy Bow. Well taken by Trimble. Needs to give it. Does give it. Payne out wide. Toohey for a second try. What a finish by Dan Toohey. First Ulster try by Dan Toohey. Fifth Ulster try by Dan Toohey. And that rounds off a splendid evening for Ulster. By no means perfect, but on the scoreboard it's pretty impressive.
Just what we talked about earlier on, having confidence with ball in hand. Ulster using the full width of the pitch. It was crying out for someone to come and straighten that off Andrew Trimble. Jared Payne was the man. And there's Dan Toohey lurking in the outer reaches.
Well, it was a serious poacher's try. So Dan Toohey, his second try, taking his league total up to 6. And he's played pretty well. And fairly deserving of his place on the Irish squad for the Autumn Internationals. Ruan Pienaar for the last kick of this game, because the referee's whistle will go. And Ulster have copper fastened 5 precious league points tonight. And having lost their opening 2 games, they've now won 4 in a row. Pienaar from the touchline. Absolutely perfect by Ruan Pienaar. Referee blows his whistle. Ulster have completed a pretty good night at the office. And they've defeated the Cardiff Blues by a pretty impressive scoreline. And it's Ulster 39 and Cardiff Blues 21.
Well, Andy Ward and Ryan Constable have certainly been enjoying an entertaining contest tonight. Ulster made it look difficult at times, but turned in an excellent performance in the end.
Yeah, I thought they showed a serious amount of professionalism tonight to get the job done, to see it through. They had some rocky stages and patches throughout that second half and also the end of the first half, but they just kept going, and that's what I've liked about them. They've just got the whole thing going, and it's been coming for a wee while, and it's looking good.
Yes, there were mistakes at times tonight, Ryan, but some of the passages of play that Ulster produced were outstanding.
Yeah, you look at it 1 through to 15, some of those phases that they went through to create those opportunities, and then most importantly, when they created them, they finished them. They got the points, 5 in the bag, very important after that run to refocus back on the Pro 12, and they've certainly done that emphatically tonight.
Ruan Pienaar had an excellent game, knocked over a couple of fantastic kicks, but man of the match, Jared Payne.
Yeah, I think Jared's had a very good game. He's just so cool under pressure. We talk about it week in, week out now. People are probably getting tired of hearing about it, but he's just instrumental in a lot of good things and sparks some really fantastic things good about Ulster Rugby.
Okay, let's hear from the man of the match himself.
Well, Jared, we're getting used to this. Another man of the match display. Was that tighter than it needed to be in the second half?
Cardiff are a good team. They showed it last week. They definitely came back at us. We let them into the game with a few silly areas, and yeah, it did get a bit tighter than we liked it, but the boys hung in there. We sort of got our mistakes right and we finished them off, which was nice.
Well, we're used to seeing you at 15. How do you enjoy playing at the outside centre?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I enjoy it. It's, as I get a bit slower, I think I'm going to have to move in a few more positions as I get older, but you know, it's good. It's good. I enjoyed it tonight.
Stuart Olding ran you close. How do you think he got on in your old position?
Mate, yeah, he was awesome. I thought for his first game there in a while, he was great. He's got all the skills we need back there, so he might get a few more chances and put me out of position, so it's tough in the back line. It's good.
Well done, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
Steve.